Ladies and gentlemen, we are attending a youth consultative meeting at Geoffrey Hotel in Kampala. We have over 100 youths that have come from all over Uganda to come and attend this meeting. Now, a number of questions have come up, and I would like us, members of this panel, to clarify some of them. And the first question that I have, I would like to pose this to Mr. David Katel. David, what are the key challenges that CIDI has found in working with the youth in Uganda? Very briefly.
Thank you very much. Key among the challenges that youth are experiencing in Uganda at the moment is that they seem to be disoriented. They seem to be losing hope that the power is within them to be able to make a change within their society. And so they need to be organized, and they need to be reoriented, and they need to be offered a platform where actually they can be made active and know that they can make a positive contribution to the development of their communities and this nation.
My next question is going to be to Mr. Mumbere, James Kleto Mumbere. And the question is this: we have a number of youth here. Anyone coming here would think CIDI is about the youth alone. Is that what you do? Is CIDI mostly about the youth?
Well, thank you, Mr. Moderator. CIDI is not only about the youth. CIDI does multiplicity of other programs in the thematic areas of water, sanitation, and hygiene, in Kampala city, in all our other field offices or field activities, say in Karamoja, in Teso, in Rakai, in Bulisa. We have reached out to the communities in water, sanitation, and hygiene, but also we are involved in agriculture and the whole agricultural value chain. We are involved in health promotion programs, say for instance in Kayunga, in Nakasongola, in Luwero, where we are doing the advocacy for better health project. And we also engaged in good governance activities through policy and advocacy.
And then we have the executive director of CIDI with us, Dr. Paul. You've convened a meeting of there's so many youths in Kampala. Why CIDI? Why is it that is CIDI that has reached out to get these young people to come for this meeting, the youth consultative meeting? Why CIDI?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I must say that for over now 10 years, CIDI has been involved in many activities that involve the youth. We are working with youths in skill promotion. We are working with youths in promoting entrepreneurial activities like in Soroti. We are working with youths in Rakai, again to promote income generating activities, but also agricultural activities. We are also working with youths in the urban areas to promote skills of gardening and landscaping, and also promote income generation. We are working with youth in schools to promote sanitation, reproductive health, and so many others. And in working with those youths, we have found a number of challenges which can best be answered by youths. Why, for instance, they find it difficult to engage in agricultural activities which are bringing money. Maybe they would prefer the kind of programs that are being brought on board handled differently, and they are the best persons to give us those answers. Recently, CIDI conducted a mapping exercise of youth organizations and also civil society organizations working with youths, and we identified quite a number of voices and challenges and gaps that we needed to go back and talk to the youth and see if these are a true reflection of what they feel. This can only be best done if we talk with them in such kind of forums, so that they are able to say, despite all of the efforts which are being made by so many organizations and civil society and sometimes even government engaging in this kind of programs, these are the gaps. These are the things which can work. These are the things which cannot work. So in this consultative meeting is basically to bring the youth together and see how we can bridge those gaps, or how those gaps can best be defined by the youth themselves, and then they put them on the agenda of their development aspirations in the coming generations or the coming years. Mind you, the youth form about 60% of the Ugandan population. So they need to be consulted on the programs that affect them before we can go deeper and deeper into them.
Thank you very much. Earlier this morning, we had group discussions in groups of 20 youths each, and one of the groups who called themselves the think tank came up with an interesting proposal, and I've got a representative of that group, a gentleman from Bulisa, youth, should I say, from Bulisa, and one of the things that that group suggested is the need to form a national forum, a national platform. Could you tell us your name and explain what it is in your group that led you to believe that that is the solution to the challenges of the youth in Uganda today?
Thank you, moderator. Again, my name is Gilbert Tiwasima. I am the district youth councillor for the second term. I want to thank CIDI for this very wonderful program, and thank you for bringing us here, because it has always been a rare occasion for the youth leaders in different districts in the country to have a meeting like this that brings them together to share challenges that they face. However, while in our group we raised about 4 expectations, and one expectation interested you, the organizers of today's meeting, and that is an expectation after this meeting or at the end of it to formulate the national youth structure. Many times we've had so many challenges as the youth that we face, both in leadership, in business, and in some other aspects that affect the youth's life. We know that we have the national youth leadership, which is implementing the national government programs, but we've not had a kind of a coalition or a platform that holds those in government, especially the youth leaders, and of course those in different organs of government, accountable. Now, the best way we can do this is having a national platform that comes out of the youth leaders that are in this today's meeting, so that they can have a platform through which they can be using to do advocacy and lobby for the things that they think can benefit them. Now, when we form this national youth platform, one, it will do advocacy and lobbying. And our request to CIDI will therefore be that CIDI can come in to train these, the committee that we shall have come up with, and the entire youth leaders, equipping them with advocacy and lobbying skills. Secondly, we are talking about holding the duty bearers accountable, we as the youth, those who are in bigger offices. But there will also be need of training this very structure. If we come up with it, the platform, there will be need of training them in governance, accountability, and public participation, or entirely what I can say, principles of leadership and governance. They should be fully acquainted with these principles, because if they are to hold duty bearers accountable, then they should be first knowing the roles of what those in leaders are expected to do, so that they can be in position to ask for ABC. Sometimes the youth leaders have failed to do proper advocacy because they are not fully acquainted with leadership and governance skills. Therefore, holding those duty bearers becomes a little bit impossible for them. Now, we are talking of changing the mindset of the youth in various fields of agriculture, the fields of conflict management and peace building, but there is a need for experience sharing. I think when we come up with the national youth platform that is non-partisan, that advocates for the issues the youth think can work for them, can be the best way.
Thank you very much. Now, we've had the views from a representative who came from Bulisa and was part of the think tank discussion group. But we have over 100 youths that are here. They've come from all over Uganda. They work with different organizations. They belong to different organizations. Can we hear from you, madam, and then finally from you whether you agree with his views or not?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think we should come up with a procedure paper that we as the youth will be able to use and influence the stakeholders like the National Youth Council. This is a council that is in charge of the youth programming. We should also use this paper to influence the Uganda Parliamentary Forum on the Youth Affairs and also the Ministry of Gender, because this is a ministry that is in charge of planning for the youth in this country. And I also believe, because when you look at today's theme, is about enhancing youth capacity to engage duty bearers. How do we engage duty bearers? We are here as youth, but from different regions, different organizations, different settings. And it's for the first time that we are having such an engagement, bringing different youth from different backgrounds. And I believe what will come up will influence the civil society, and wherever we work. In my organization, where we come from in Barara, Western Uganda, and also other youth who are from the East Central, and the North. So when we come up with the finalized paper after today's event, because we don't need to come and sit and go, but this is something we are going to come up at the end of today's event. After this paper is finalized through CIDI, we believe they will call us back and see how do we go forward and how do we influence using this paper using the district youth budget advocacy alliances. These are advocacy alliances that are there in the districts, but they are dead. They are not functional, and these are platforms that we can already there form. We cannot always just make them active. And to me, I think as the youth of Uganda, we need to use them to influence, starting from the sub-county, because we don't only look at the national level. Let's look at the sub-county, then move to the district, then move to the national level, because the national level makes the final suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator. I'm just going to add on something small on what my lady friend has said. I think I will support the idea of the national platform, because I think it is going to bring the youth from different parts of the country together. We shall be able to have one voice, advocate for the challenges that are affecting the youth, especially those who engage in agriculture. We take into consideration that we come from different parts of the country where we are experiencing challenges as regards of the environment. When you look at Karamoja, you look at Teso, you look at West Nile, you look at Western Uganda and the Central. All these areas experience different weather. At times, this part is receiving rain and the other side is not receiving. So I think as a platform, we shall be able to come and see how then do we come and see that probably we engage into climate adaptative measures so that our agricultural base is set in that we are able to respond whenever there are situations that change as regards the climate. And then I think to me it is also another opportunity for the members gathered here today to see it as a turning point. When you hear the stories coming from the representatives from Soroti, they are already trying to revive the cooperatives and trying to market their products through it. And this is something that has already died. If we can set up this platform and see that the cooperatives are not only revived in Soroti. If we can have a cooperative, for example, in Arua to cater for West Nile, we can have one in Gulu to cater for maybe Acholi, one in Lira, maybe one in Barara and Fort Portal and Kole, yeah? We are able now to see that somebody doesn't struggle as an individual to market their product from the garden to a trading center, but rather they gather as a team and sell their products as a whole. Then I also believe today is a turning point. Besides, we have already have champions share their story.